a subpoena, but of course the law of the case right now is that the subpoena is in effect. The judge's ruling stands. The judge did not put a stay on his own ruling. So in theory, they could ask right now, but I think that they probably won't, and the Trump lawyers may ask the judge to stay the effect of his ruling so that they can appeal it. That's certainly been the course, the way these things have played out.
Yeah. All right, Pete Williams, thank you so much. It has been 9 agonizing years since Mark and Deborah Tice saw their son Austin. The freelance journalist was working in Syria when he was kidnapped. Now his parents are begging the Biden administration to bring him home. NBC Nightly News anchor Lester Holt talked with them exclusively on Austin's 40th birthday.
With all my heart, Austin, I hope you get this message.
A mother's plea on the 40th birthday of her son, Austin Tice, the freelance journalist and former Marine who disappeared 9 years ago while on assignment in Syria.
August 11th will always be our special day. I'm so grateful to be your mom, and I can hardly wait to hold you again.
Tice went missing in 2012 after being detained at a checkpoint near Damascus. This video posted online a month later shows the last time he was seen. His family, however, focuses on happier memories. When was the last time you saw him and you were together?
The last time I saw him, I was dropping him off at the airport in January of 2012, thinking about the last time I hugged him, he was 30. And now we've had this milestone that we would have celebrated. This year is really
hard,
challenging. Despite the heavy emotional toll, Deborah and Mark Tice have never given up hope for their son's safe return. We last spoke with them in 2019.
My expectations are very high right now.
Secretary of State Antony Blinken recommitting we will continue to pursue all avenues to bring Austin home.
Words are easy. We are really measuring more by action, which is what we don't see. And the only thing, Lester, that we have asked since 2012, 9 years, 3 administrations, is direct diplomatic engagement with the Syrian government.
And what do you think the obstacle is to seeing that happen?
Well, right now, what we need President Biden to do is to tell the National Security Council, tell the State Department that Austin's freedom is a priority.
State Department officials say they believe Tice is alive and that Syria's President Assad has the power to free him. But the Syrian government has never publicly acknowledged having information.
Raph, I was not off, man.
You stay strong, son, and we're working really hard to bring
some bull, referee.
Tell your mom that I'm here, I missed you. We did it again. Verizon has been named America's most reliable network by Root Metrics, and our customers rated us #1 for network quality in America, according to J.D. Power, proving there's only one best network.
Cubs sucks, bro. Come on, Cubbies. Let go the whole entire team.
Audrey's expecting twins. Change of plans.
At Fidelity, a change in plans is always part of the plan.
From you touch it, you buy it, Dan, to first name basis with the delivery guy, Dan.
Hey, his name is Skipper. It's hard to forget. It's also a wonderful name.
The new City Custom Cash Card automatically adjusts to where your spending is trending. Make the most of your day with
Today in 30. We give you a mix of everything you love about our show.
in a mere 30 minutes. Savannah and Hoda bring you what you must know. The biggest moments of the morning.
What?
exclusive interviews.
Why did it work for you? You're right. I am more talented than the rest.
And important headlines. Major mega planners this fall. Watch Today in 30-hour full schedule. Streaming every day on Today All Day.
Military operation is a massive crowd.
Easy meet for the goalkeeper.
Any moment now.
Here it goes, been a goal in one of the other games. Alan McInerney can fill us in. It's a second goal for the home team. 31 minutes. You have a McInerney. Not a good pass. As you can see, the visitors don't have too much of the ball. They went by without them winning this game. They're sucking their opponents onto them. With the pace they've got at midfield and up front, they're really causing problems.
U.S. Embassy in Kabul telling American civilians to leave Afghanistan immediately. The State Department now sending troops to help evacuate embassy staff. As the Taliban makes lightning-fast gains in 10 provincial cities in just a week. NBC News foreign correspondent Kelly Kobiak has the latest from Kabul.
Well, Allison, another big victory for the Taliban today. They took control of the city Ghazi.
No, it's way too much ready for your celebration.
Of Kabul. It's to the south, and it's also along a very key stretch of roadway, a highway that links Kabul with Kandahar in the southern part of the country. There are also reports of heavy fighting in Kandahar. That has been an ongoing situation over the past several days and weeks, and claims by the Taliban that they've captured that city. Those claims have not been confirmed by the government. They're also claiming to have captured the city of Herat in the west. Again, no confirmation from the government, and there has been heavy fighting there, not only on the part of government forces, but also local militias over the past several weeks. The influx of the people from these other provinces and cities continues here in Kabul. Tens of thousands of people are coming into Kabul trying to seek shelter, seek some safety. A camp, a park actually that we visited just a couple of days ago is now even, has even more people inside, people who are now setting up tents. They're sort of establishing more of a permanent presence there in for the long haul. The thinking is that they're not going to be able to go back to their hometowns or villages for quite a long time now. These camps or makeshift camps are filling up quite quickly. The government is struggling with how to provide for all of these people, food, water, shelter, etc. And at the same time, the United Nations saying that about 1,000 civilians, at least 1,000 civilians have been killed just in the past month of fighting. Now, as for the peace process, the State Department has said it has been a very slow process, almost frustratingly slow. And in fact, today, the Pakistani Prime Minister said that the Taliban leadership has told him they will not talk peace until the current Afghan president, Ashraf Ghani, is out.
Thousands of people in Germany getting revaccinated after a nurse injected some patients with a saline solution instead of the vaccine. NBC News correspondent Megan Fitzgerald has the story.
Trifling bitch.
Files and German police started investigating in April, and they tell us that this nurse told one of her coworkers that she dropped a vial of the Pfizer vaccine, didn't want to tell anyone about it, so she filled up another vial with this saline solution. This coworker then alerted the management in this clinic. They then contacted the authorities that started investigating. So they've been doing their due diligence over the last several months, and what they found, they say, is evidence to suggest that this nurse was an anti-vaxxer because of messages that she sent and posts that she's posted on social media. And so that's why they believe that this nefarious activity could have started when she started working at the clinic in March, all the way to when she was terminated in April. So over the course of several weeks, we're talking about some 8,600 people that could have been impacted. That is why authorities in the northern northern region of Germany there are trying to reach those people, telling them to come back to the clinic there to get revaccinated. This is a criminal investigation that continues to go on, and at this point, police are saying that they have evidence to suggest that this woman may have even fraudulently presented a vaccination card of her own. So again, still something that's under investigation at this point, but we know that about 8,600 people could be impacted by this woman's actions. Back to you.
Dr. Deitch needs to be stopped.
He named 24 victims and got away with it.
The system is broken.
You know what I do for a living?
Dutch is never going to stop on his own.
Can I ask you a personal question? Would you let Dutch operate?
I'm gonna fix you.
Man, my sis on points.
T-Mobile gives you more ways than ever to get out there.
Man, I'm a passing machine.
Take the epic iPhone 12.
Playmaker, baby. Playmaker.
Experience it with our new Magenta Max plan with unlimited premium data that can't slow down based on how much smartphone data you use. And connect your devices on the go with 40 gigabytes of high-speed hotspot data included. That's right, unlimited premium data in the iPhone 12 on us. Get out there with T-Mobile, the leader in 5G.
The next big thing isn't easy to find. Introducing Fidelity Disruption and Megatrend Funds. Big opportunities for a changing world. At Fidelity.com/nextbigthing. Today is now a podcast.
We have what you need to start your day, and it's available every day.
Your daily dose of news and interviews. Listen now wherever you get your podcasts.
What team is that nigga on? The hell? That's not what I asked y'all niggas. Not what I asked y'all either. Yep, that's what I asked y'all. Okay. See you in 2 games, 3 games. Let's go, boys. Let's go.
Dewey Mazzella was 18 years old when he was arrested for a murder he didn't commit and spent more than 2 decades behind bars. In the latest episode of the Into America podcast, Tremaine Lee tells the story of Mazzella's wrongful conviction and how he never gave up on the truth or his dream of becoming a professional boxer. NBC News correspondent and Into America podcast host Tremaine here with us now, looking very official in the podcast studio, sir. So tell us more about this incredible story. Mazzella was just a teen when he was arrested for allegedly murdering an elderly woman. 5 years later, he was convicted on circumstantial evidence. Tell us about his case and what he told you about his 26 years in prison.
Thank you so much for having me, Allison. The story of Dewey Mazzella is a fascinating one indeed. It speaks to the perseverance of the human will, but also the anger and anguish and desperation of folks who were wrongfully convicted. Back in 1977, there was this gruesome murder of an elderly woman, 92-year-old Emma Crasper in Poughkeepsie, New York. Someone broke into her house, tied her up with an electrical cord, gagged her, and she was later died. Dewey Mazzella was a teenager at that time, and some other suspects who were rounded up in the case pointed their fingers at him. They cut a deal, even though there was no evidence to suggest that Dewey Mazzella was there. Eyewitness accounts from folks again who had an vested interest in this case were let out, and they pointed the finger to Dewey Mazzella. At first they let him go. 5 years later, he's picked up again, convicted of murder, and has spent 26 years behind bars. The entire time he's saying that he didn't do it, but again, it's like the innocent prisoner's dilemma.
I missed.
Even when you get to the point of parole is...
My bad, bro. You were open for that goal.
All right, so Tremaine, let's talk about getting this conviction overturned, and then I want to hear about realizing his dream of becoming a professional boxer.
It's an amazing turn in the story. Well, first of all, he maintained his innocence. He reached out to the Innocence Project, who usually uses DNA evidence to exonerate wrongfully convicted folks, but all the DNA evidence in the case had been destroyed. But what his lawyers ended up finding was that the prosecutors in the initial trial actually hid evidence that would have exonerated them, or could have exonerated them. They hid it from the jury. A judge decided that was enough to overturn it. While he was, even before he went into prison for the second time, he picked up boxing. He thought it was
shoot better
over with, but then once he got into prison, a guard set up a little boxing team. He joined it, and he always said that if he can get out, he'll fight one time only. And ultimately, he got his chance. His story went all across the globe. He had a boxing match once he got out, and he actually won. And he retired. He got one good fight under his belt. But what's interesting to me is the parallel between boxing in the ring and fighting for his life, which he did every step of the way. This is truly, truly a very fascinating story.
Oh my God, Tremaine, it's incredible. And look, it never should have happened, right? He never should have spent that time in jail, but his resilience, his dedication to get out, to fight that fight while also fighting the fight of his life. It's just such an inspiring story. Let's talk about some of the issues here, and there are so very many, but you report that black people are 7 times more likely to be wrongfully convicted of murder than white folks. Clearly, our justice and prison systems are very broken. What are experts saying? How can we even begin to start fixing that enormous disparity within our system?
You know, that's really tough. Obviously, we've been dealing with this for a very long time. First of all, it's the way that black and brown and marginalized communities are policed, right? There is this sense of inherent criminality among black men in particular. So it's not like you're innocent until proven guilty.
Shoot, man!
Someone can just pin a case on you, quite frankly. And so the part of it is that, but also there's this deal cutting that happens once you're in the system between prosecutors and police that incentivizes you admitting your guilt when you didn't do anything. They'll say, hey, you know, your buddies say that you were the guy who did it, so just tell us who you want, and you won't face the maximum penalty, or you'll get out early. There's all this kind of slick wheeling and dealing going on in the prosecutor's office. That so many folks, especially young people, if you're a teenager and you don't have representation or parents or anyone to shield you, then you're at the whim of the system. So you'll say, you know what, I want to get out of here. I'll tell them what they want, and maybe it'd be, you know, a lesser burden, but oftentimes it's not the full weight of the system.
Dude,
squarely in the back, and that's it.
It's just unbelievable what goes on and how far we have to go as a country. Tremaine, thank you so very much. Between the headphones,
cut it in there, baby.
The Into America podcast today.
Taking you into America. I promise to take you guys into America. Here you are. This is where it happens.
You do not let us down, Tremaine Lee. We really appreciate it. And hey, if that wasn't enough and you really want to get into it, you can hear more of Tremaine's interview with Dua Gazelle on the latest episode of the Into America podcast out now. Thanks, Tremaine.
Restarting at 2-0.
An Atlanta elementary school under fire for alleged civil rights violations. Check this out. 43-year-old Kayla Posey, who is black, filed a federal complaint after learning that her daughter's school separated black students from their classmates. How did she find out? Well, she says she found out about the separation last spring when she asked the principal about placing her daughter with a specific teacher. That principal, who's also a black woman, responded, quote, "That's not a black class." Posey's complaint includes 2 audio files of other administrators who knew this was happening. The principal and the education department didn't immediately respond to NBC News' request for comment. Time's running out for victims of child abuse in New York State. An important window in the Child Victims Act closes on Saturday. That law is designed to give sex abuse survivors more time to bring charges. NBC News legal analyst Danny Simonis explains.
The Child Victims Act was passed by the New York State Legislature and signed by Governor Cuomo in February of 2019, and it dramatically changed the landscape of child sex abuse prosecutions and civil lawsuits. Notably, the law extends the statute of limitations in both criminal and civil cases. The law is designed to allow child victims of sexual abuse additional time to bring civil and criminal charges. Criminal felony charges can be sought until the victim is 28 years old, and misdemeanors until the victim is 25 years old. Now, going forward, the law will allow survivors of child sexual abuse to file a lawsuit until their 55th birthday. But in addition to that, the law originally created an unlimited 1-year window in which which anyone can file regardless of their age and regardless of how long ago the abuse occurred. Now, that one-year look-back window ended up being a several-year look-back window. Because of COVID-19, Governor Cuomo extended that period multiple times. That window slammed shut this Saturday, August 14th. After August 14th, if the survivor has not filed a civil lawsuit, if the statute of limitations has otherwise expired, that case may be lost to them forever. And the law is also supposed to streamline these cases by designating special procedures in each county where they're filed. Realistically, in a post-COVID era, New York courts and courts everywhere are struggling with backlogs, and efficiency may not be a priority. The law recognizes the highly sensitive and traumatic nature of these claims, so plaintiffs to file
bastard stole my goal
named only by their initials so that their identity isn't revealed. There are a few recurring defendants you can expect to see in some of these filings. Their identity isn't revealed. There are a few recurring defendants you can expect to see in some of these filings. One can expect to see religious groups like the Archdiocese as common defendants. Part in the abuse. Having reviewed a lot of these civil complaints and drafted some myself, one characteristic is the
beautiful pass, buddy.
Actual detail. That's understandable. A lot of these plaintiffs suffered childhood trauma, and it's difficult to remember things that happened decades ago. It's hard to say what direction this litigation will go because we're likely just at the beginning. The next 48 hours will probably see a gigantic surge in filings at the court. Civil cases in New York often take years to come to a conclusion anyway. With the number of CVA cases expected to be filed in the next couple of days, it wouldn't be a surprise if these cases also take years to come to a conclusion.
Make the most of your day with
Today in 30. We give you a mix of everything you love about our show in a mere 30 minutes.
Watch Today in 30 on your schedule, streaming every day on Today All Day.
Sometimes the news can be difficult and overwhelming for kids to understand.
Today is now a podcast.
We have what you need to start your day, and it's available every day.
Your daily dose of news and interviews. Listen now wherever you get your podcasts.
It's one giant leap forward in the space race.
Bezos making it very clear this is the first step of
Mr. Cash Card automatically adjusts to where your spending is trending. Today is now a podcast.
We have what you need to start your day, and it's available every day.
Your daily dose of news and interviews. Listen now wherever you get your podcasts.
Speaking out against laws that they feel would make it harder for Texas voters to cast their ballot. The issue here is not that vaccines aren't available.
Why you do that for?
People are choosing not to get vaccinated. We have a team of correspondents.
You big dummy.
For us today.
This is NBC News Now, streaming free 24/7.
Today is now a podcast.
We have what you need to start your day, and it's available every day.
Your daily dose of news and interviews. Listen now wherever you get your podcasts.
Today in Los Angeles Superior Court. In them, her father Jamie says he's willing to work towards an orderly transition in her conservatorship. Britney's attorney Matthew Rosengart releasing this statement in response. We are pleased that Mr. Spears and his lawyer have today conceded in a filing that he must be removed. It is vindication for Britney. Let's bring in NBC News legal analyst Danny Ceballos to better understand this one. So, Danny, some news outlets jumped all over this one, reporting that Jamie Spears has agreed to step down. You're the legal expert. Is that what this means? What do these court filings say?
These filings, and digesting them as they just came out, are saying essentially that Jamie Spears disagrees with what has been said about him in court. He is going to contest the petition, probably in order to at least defend his honor against these allegations that he claims are false, but that he is going to work towards what they describe as an orderly transition to a new conservator of the conservatee. And the conservatee here is, of course, Britney Spears.
So, Danny, Rosenbart also says in his statement, we look forward to continuing our vigorous investigation into the conduct of Mr. Spears and others over the past 13 years. Well, he reaped millions of dollars from his daughter's estate, and I look forward to taking Mr. Spears' sworn deposition in the near future. I know this is a really unique case. We haven't seen many like this, but what are you expecting could come next here?
If he sits down Jamie Spears for a deposition, that will be a fascinating exercise in legal accounting, because that's many years of different kinds of questions about where did this dollar go, what was this expense for. That could be a real problem for Jamie Spears. I mean, even sloppy accounting will not come off very good, or very well, I should say, in a deposition. You're under oath, and it's limited by really, as long as you can ask a question that is tangentially related to something that could be relevant or admissible at trial, you're probably going to be able to get an answer to that question, even if it seems completely out there.
So, Danny, I think we're all pretty clear that my legal expertise is limited. I do much better in the financial realm. But if I had to guess from what we have learned today, it looks like this one still has a ways to go. There are still some legal issues to get through in terms of getting Britney out of this conservatorship.
Absolutely, yes. And there's no surprise when conservatorships are designed to keep going. Because kind of logical in that the conservatee is the unable decisions for it. So when she wants to make a decision about a new, say, conservator, the court already she can't make decisions for herself. So it's no surprise these proceedings take a long time, but in the end, the court has to make sure that the decision is in the best interest of the conservatee, Britney Spears.
All right, Danny, I know those documents just dropped, and you got through them pretty quickly for us. You could be on air. Thank you so much. We'll be checking in with you about this one again, no doubt. Sony Pictures replacing the late Alex Trebek with not one but two hosts. Some game show fans now saying they're not so into the Double Jeopardy. NBC.
Man, my sis be flawless, bruh.
We have an answer to one of the most pressing Jeopardy questions in years. Who are Mike Richards and Mayim Bialik? The duo set to share the coveted spot behind the game show's famous lectern. Richards, Jeopardy's current executive producer, was named the new daily host of the famed quiz show.
Jeopardy is an incredibly important American institution. It's about making people that are smart the most important people in the room.
And in an even bigger surprise twist, actress Mayim Bialik will be the face of new Jeopardy primetime and spin-off series.
Ready, set, wrestle.
Best known for her role on the hit TV show The Big Bang Theory, as the childhood star of Blossom back in the 90s, Bialik quickly became a fan favorite as a guest host. She said it was her teenage son who first told her to go for the gig.
He heard a thing online saying, like, Mayim Bialik should be the host. And he was like, you should do this.
Some Jeopardy fans were disappointed, wondering if Richards took an inside track to the job. But Richards says the final decision belonged to Sony Pictures Television, not him, adding he was open about his role in the search process. Told the Wall Street Journal in April, after filling in as a guest host, that the search would be slow and deliberate, with months of rotating guest hosts.
We want to go at this with real analytics and real testing, and not just go, hey, how about this guy? Which is kind of how a lot of these decisions have been made historically.
But many fans are critical of the decision, voicing their preference for LeVar Burton, a longtime host of PBS's Reading Rainbow. Well, others pointed to Richards' tenure at The Price is Right. He was mentioned in decade-old lawsuits against that show brought by former models. One of the models alleged discrimination after she became pregnant. Richards denied any wrongdoing at the time, and the cases were eventually settled. In a memo to Jeopardy staff this week, Richards said those allegations do not, quote, reflect the reality of who I am. Now he's the answer to this final Jeopardy question. Who will host Jeopardy?
Hey everyone, I'm Allison Mars. You're watching NBC News Now. Here's what's happening.
This action is about ensuring our most vulnerable, who may need an additional dose to enhance biological responses to the vaccines, are better protected against COVID-19.
The CDC meeting tomorrow to talk booster shots for immunocompromised folks. So when will the rest of us be rolling up our sleeves again? Plus, the 2020 census data is finally here. You know what that means. The chart frog himself is with us, Steve Kornacki. He's going to get into the battle brewing all because of those numbers.
Did you see the school? The corn, nearly breeze. Does this happen? You know, for me it is. It's, you know, it's still a dream.
From the big screen to the big leagues, Iowa hosting its first ever Major League Baseball game tonight on the Field of Dreams. The Yankees versus White Sox. We'll take you there. We begin with team coverage of COVID and the Delta variant. NBC News Now correspondent Simone Boyce is in Los Angeles, California, the first state to require teacher vaccinations. NBC News correspondent Carrie Sanders is in Palm Beach, Florida, where school only started this week and hundreds of students are already quarantining. And NBCNews.com senior White House reporter Shannon Pettypiece is on the North Lawn with the administration's latest ammo in the fight against COVID. So Shannon, the CDC Advisory Committee set to meet tomorrow to talk about a COVID booster shot for the immunocompromised. What else did the task force say about booster shots today?
Right, well, certainly a lot of interest in booster shots. Like you mentioned, this decision we're expecting tomorrow is just for people with immune system issues, and it really only applies to about 3% of the population. More widely, though, Anthony Fauci, the president's chief medical advisor, continues to expect that at some point people are going to need a booster, but the data isn't there yet. It doesn't look like we need it just yet. Here's more about what he had to say on that.
It's a true statement that we believe sooner or later you will need a booster for durability of protection. But at this moment, apart from the immunocompromised, which was just discussed, we do not believe that others, elderly or not elderly, who are not immunocompromised, need a vaccine right at this moment. But this is a dynamic process, and the data will be evaluated. The one thing we are doing is we are preparing for the eventuality of doing that. So if the data shows us that, in fact, we do need to do that, we'll be very ready to do it and do it expeditiously.
So reassuring people that if it does get to the point where we need boosters, the U.S. is going to have the supply and the capability to do that. One other interesting thing I would note around boosters, the CDC commissioner said that she is aware of reports of people going out and getting a third unauthorized shot themselves. So people taking it upon themselves to get a booster even though it's not recommended, and that is something that the CDC is looking into.
Shannon, the Biden administration also expanding its vaccine mandate today to Health and Human Services employees. That's another 25,000 people. Could you tell us about that?
Yeah, it's all part of this expanding push by the administration to use mandates to up these vaccine numbers and really hope that more...
Oh, hell no. How'd they win?